with my hair. Hello. That's my little goofy idiosyncrasy. Good morning. I did a whole show for you guys yesterday, and we're gonna play it today. There it is. Oh, look.
Hello there. Glad you could join me.
There it is.
My show. That's right.
I was combing my hair.
So don't look at the sides. I cut my own hair. Oh, it is. Yeah. Blue skies in Los Angeles. That's right. Coming at you almost every single day. Ugh, telling you my story. I talk about my real life. I talk about the projects that I write. My writing's always available in the description. I start my show before I check anything, before I check lighting or anything. It's just that it's really hot. I'm not going to sit in the sun. They're tearing up the green over here.
I don't know if they're tearing it up. It just smells really bad and like.
I see people eating food all the time. I'm totally obsessed.
I'm obsessed with food.
I live off the EBT menu because that's how I roll for my projects. I don't run game on people. I think it's weak. I think it's part of this technocratic future, and I think
that's right.
It is the future.
That's right, guys. Just chiming in.
And I think I need better light. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't use a ring light, so you get all the wrinkles.
Ooh, I went crazy right there. You see that?
I did. Look, I cut my own hair and went crazy. I'm gonna let it grow in a little bit. Take it easy.
All right, so hey, we keep going. I don't really care. Oh, I got up late today. I just slept in because I know that I gotta try to get the rest when and where I can, and you know, and I know I didn't obviously sabotage my own car, and I know I don't run game on people. So I think
yeah, and I'm not. I don't appreciate having my likeness used by a mama's boy in a rival band who's too big of a pussy to go fisticuffs.
That's right.
I can't yell. I can't cuss.
Ooh, you made a treatment for an on-demand series. It'll be the novelization to it. Okay, that's really all I can do right now. You can see I'm homeless. This is how I live my life.
That's right.
And I moved out here in good faith. And again, I don't sabotage people's cars. I don't railroad them out of jobs.
Yeah, they used that tech on that last job as well.
Pathetic. It's passive aggressive. And I
my wife should have a permit for the tech that she used, and she might have.
Like somebody, don't hire them.
Yeah, don't hire me.
What they do.
It's pretty simple.
Deniability. Like I said, my wife had a police issued.
That's right. She got it from her brother. She used it in Africa. We went to North Africa. She used this weapon on me, and it creates criminals. It doesn't. It can make you buckle down, but it creates the criminal, and that's what they do. And they record you at the same time.
I cared about her actually at the time.
Yeah, at the time. I cared about a lot of people, including the guys in my band. Oh yeah, you fucked up when you crossed me.
That included suicide ops.
Yep.
And she started those.
And this is corroborated by Frances Haugen.
And they did it down in Florida, and they melted my brain. And when I got back to Michigan, I had some snide remark coming from a person in the government of Michigan talking about Florida.
That's right, so when I had to go through the system because I was really sick.
And I call them government gangsters.
I went undercover.
That's why I talk about mobs.
I'll tell you guys, at my trucking company. That's why I took the bait, because it's really dangerous going around calling people Zoolander. And let me tell you, Whiskey Dick Dan, the barmaid over at the Comment, he brought up Zoolander once. Yeah, it turns out he couldn't handle his dope. He's dead. Sayonara. I guess we won't be seeing you tomorrow.
And God bless it.
I didn't even know this guy.
Probably not going to see it.
I know very few people, and they all turned on me.
For it. And it's the same old story. I heard all those stories when I was working at the American Indian Community House.
That's right. God bless it, and I'm glad I did. We are Maroons. We are first Americans. Make no mistake about it. We could have came over here in the BC era. There's no way of knowing.
In case you guys don't know the story, the people closest to me turned on me, and they were going to kill my parents.
They were. And that's how dumb these people are. That's why Jim Hicks and all these idiots go along with it. Jason Clifton.
Police officer. That's
because they don't know the severity of what they were going to do.
From New York City.
Like I said, like Nicholas Pileggi said. That's right. It goes to New York City. Like Nicholas Pileggi said, either you're too stupid or you were in on it. Either way, you're out.
I worked as a small-time actor and a production assistant.
That's right, and I'm glad I did.
I was being called nonstop. My
yeah.
pager didn't stop. I actually turned down work on a Rolling Stones video. Believe it or not. You know me, I like the Rolling Stones, but I'm a company man.
Loyal.
I'm not a company man, but I am, I'm loyal. And this is what people don't understand. Why would I be loyal to my band when I'm writing all the songs and I'm doing all
That's right. My music was safe inside the temper mill. Jason Clifton went out of his way to take it out, thinking that he knows how to produce. Listen to his production. It's garbage.
If you have to group identify, you're pathetic. And I want to state that
we all have to group identify. We all have to classify. We don't understand that. But that's bureaucracy. That's not for the common person.
You should be identifying is with your family.
You should be identifying with your family.
The most respect for the Mexican people.
That's
here.
right. Mexicans and Asians know how to, they don't go around kicking people out of their families. Listen, let me tell you something. Anytime you're out on the streets, you see a homeless person, it's usually they're a wood or a blood. That's just the way it is. There's very few Mexican people. Nobody's saying that there aren't, okay? There's drug addicts in everybody's family. That's why I'm homeless and I'm not a drug addict. I never was. Why? Well, maybe I was. But I did my own work on myself in 06. I locked myself in my room. I took the meds that were prescribed to me and I kicked it. And it took about 2 years. And then that's when the slope-shouldered manatee of a fuddy-duddy got a hold of me. And she was using tech that I don't think that she had a permit to use. And I think she got that from her brother. Police officers have this tech. Nobody's talking about it except for me on my show. So if you want to go listen to somebody else's show, talk about heaven knows what, I don't know what to tell you.
Alleged blacks, they don't know what they are. And
again, people don't. Why would you identify with an academic model that was created by the peerage, by the same alleged privileged people, and they weren't all part of the Anglo Empire, but most of them were? Okay, fine. Why would you take their word for anything? That would be the last people I'd take their word for. And that's why people like Malcolm Gladwell, they're revisionists. I'm a revisionist. There's revisionist westerns. One of them is, what's that one with DiCaprio where he gets bitten by the bear? One of my guys remember that? We'll talk about Chester Himes maybe in a minute. If I can. I got to watch my language. There are families here.
Find what race is. I know I can because I studied the Theosophists.
Right. Are there 4? Is there only 4 races?
In the ancient scriptures. And I'm more to this.
Okay. You guys here? Okay, I always stop what I'm doing so you guys don't miss anything because I don't get a good signal here. This is how I have to do shows from now on. I am the real thing, not Coke or Coca-Cola. Okay, make no mistake about it. I put my money where my mouth is. That's why I know. That's why I told you guys I come up with new stuff all the time. What we're tapping into is we're using an ancient technique that Freud and Jung both knew about. It's called cognitive therapy, if I can remember. Right? We're tapping into my subconscious and we are figuring things out, not only in my own life, like the fact that my wife was a serial torturer, but about things in history, okay? All this stuff is coming the way I wrote songs in the 1980s. It comes from the ether. It comes from the same place where Wi-Fi is used, okay? These are electrons spinning very quickly, and they're delivering news and information to your device. Okay, yeah, it bounces off a tower, it bounces off a signal here, but right, it bounces and then comes to you, right? We're not plugged in. Sorry, I keep itching my nose. I guess I gotta trim my nose hairs. On with the show. This was yesterday's show. I hope you guys please share my show with somebody else. Tell them to subscribe to my show. I'm listening to these other shows like Nathan Stoltman. That guy's brain is mush. That guy's brain is the same brain that I had in 2018 when I was targeted through the Facebook app. Now take a look at Elon Musk and Robo Boy Zuckerberg. They're getting ready to go into a cage match. There's a 4-inch height difference, so I don't think they will actually really fight. But Elon Musk is they're talking about doing an MMA fight with Robo Boy Zuckerberg. And the reason that they're doing this is because Elon Musk went inside and got rid of the Fed rats that were inside Twitter. They were cranking the algorithm up and they were targeting individuals. I know that I was targeted through that. They can come through your app. They can come through your phone. Okay. Oops. Sorry. So. Oops. I gotta hit edit. Oops. We're gonna go in a little ways.
His father and his uncle actually built a projector.
Oh yeah. So we're right here. I'm talking about. I go over what I'm writing, which is called Linoleum Blown Apart, and I fall in love with different parts of it. I fall in love with the part that's about the kid who's the reincarnation of Napoleon. He starts dressing like Napoleon in his band, and it starts a trend in the punk rock scene, much the way that Darby Crash was dressing, similar to Adamant in a certain era during 1980. So, but again, I'm taking this and I'm applying it to like 1987, 1988, because the band takes place between 1987 and 1988, like I said. But, oh no, I'm sorry, between 1987 and 1996, right? So, yeah, crooked tooth. But, okay, so when I'm writing, I fall in love with different parts of it. I really love Walter. And I'd like to actually get to the part about Walter. Okay, so now he's at the part where he's working with Jeremy Cloud. And he's already done 2 films in Hollywood. Okay? And again, this life is going to be woven inside the punk rock life. So you'll be in Walter's life, and they might look onto the screen when his film comes out, and then you'll project back into the kid's life in... Okay, I'll write out what happens with Walter. Oh, sorry. I'll write out what happens with Walter. I gotta watch the seconds on the clock. Okay? Shut up. I just woke up. What do you want? Again, I'm going to write out what happens with Walter's entire life, and then I write out the entire narrative for Linoleum Blown Apart, and then we just weave them together. And some of the key plot points will be the films. And then you'll stop everything, right? You'll stop everything, and then you'll go into the film, right? Why am I all hunched over, man? I could sit back like this. Ooh. Right? Okay, so... that's a little bit of yesterday's show. I'd like to show you actually a little bit more.
I know I can, because I studied the Theosophists, and I study the scribes and the ancient scriptures.
Okay.
And I'm here to tell you, there's a lot more to this realm than your Google answers.
That's
Oh,
right.
Respect there, Google. Take it easy.
Take it easy,
I know
fellas.
I have to with Bing, but you know, I'm still on your platform. Right? And anything these sophists can tell you in academia, I'm here to use.
So I was being LARPed really hard on Facebook. They were coming through that app and they were using it to cause neurological damage, and that's why they were going to hone in and just say, oh, look at Gordon, he's got mental issues. This is a problem, guys. This is a serious problem with these Fed rats, and this is what they do. So when I was on Facebook, I'll never forget it. You know, I'm at home. I love my parents, obviously. And, you know, like, that's what I'm saying. Part of the danger is, like, idiots like Jim Hicks. He goes, oh, I thought you hated your stepdad. You know, when you say stuff like that, it's very dangerous. And this goes to show you that this moron doesn't know anything about the man that I am. And it shows you what an idiot he is. He would probably still hate his stepdad because, right, he's still in that tree sap. Okay, he's stuck in that ooze, whatever that is. And I'm not, okay? But unfortunately, when I'm with my wife and she gives me such severe brain damage and nerve damage that I'm lost. I don't know what is going on. But people do, and it was coming through the Facebook app, and it was coming through these Fed rats. And so one of the things they were saying is they were calling me Special Boy. Oh, he thinks he's Special Boy. Okay, Special Boy. Okay, so this is a created narrative, and that's why I got out in front of that right away. They think because I'm the only son, then I'm got treated special or better than my sisters. I try to tell you, my mother was about my sister Leona and my sister Sherry. That's all she had time for. And in reality, that's all the children she really should have had. She just should have had the couple of girls, and that's it. But she kept going. Obviously, she was in love with my father at some point. She's never talked about him, ever. And again, you know, that's up to the individual at this point in your life. That's why in therapy, there is no blame. I don't blame my sisters for anything. I don't blame my mother for anything, certainly. And I certainly don't blame Anthony. Okay? Anthony and my mother had a very physical relationship. They got physical with each other. So, that's what happens in relationships. It happens. And sometimes the police are called, but a lot of times they're not. And it's not just men abusing women. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I was never, quote-unquote, special boy. That's why they have to force this narrative, and that's why the narrative came from police officers. And that's why it's so dangerous. These guys are egoists, and they think that they're infallible. And they can break all kinds of laws and never get busted. Well, I don't care if somebody gets busted. Why? Because laws are arbitrary. This is what I'm trying to tell you. They use them when they target in on a person. Okay? They said numerous times that David Koresh at Waco, they knew exactly where that guy was 24/7. They could have arrested him anytime. But they put on a big show, right? By showing up with all these tanks and all this stuff, right? And they put on that big show there. And you saw what happened. And it's just really sad. And, you know, look, I'm not, you don't see me, you know, in a beret changing my name to Shay. But we have every right to talk about these things. And a lot of people were talking about this stuff in the 2013, 2014, 2015 era, right? When Christopher Nolan put out a film where he said into the schools, they were teaching, I people watch here. I'm in Los Angeles. It's a great place that people watch. I've lived in, like I said, New York. It's great to people watch. I don't know. I got sidetracked. Come on. Maybe I'll think of it later. Sorry, you're supposed to chime in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to do my show regardless. I don't care. I'm going to do it regardless and irregardless.
Use my creative powers.
That's my imitation
And I have
of a man day. Oh, and by the way, sorry. I've pretty much had it with people talking about people from the Levant. This is just, it gets picked up as chatter. This is what I was talking about with these gamers who grew up listening to rap music and saying the N-word. They're singing rap lyrics. And you saw with David Portnoy's show, they got rid of the guy for singing rap lyrics. This is targeting. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. They'll start picking out laws that apply to somebody that they've targeted. And they'll just throw those laws on there and charge them with it. And here you go, good buddy, good luck, right? That's what the cops used to say back in the day. Tell it to the judge, right? That's why I came out here. I'm writing my stories. My stories are always available in a link in the description. I'm actually a writer. I'm a songwriter. My songs are listed under Linoleum Blown Apart now. Why? Because they created a false grievance committee from Ohio. This fake shoot that they set me up on in Michigan, where they first used this tech, there's guys from Ohio, okay? And that leads you to believe that they're Fed rats and their cousin Bubba. Like this guy who accosted me right here on Pico. More than likely he was a cop. He was a little bit too clean cut. What these guys do, they try to dress like homeless people, and they go out and they LARP people. They target individuals. They try to see if they can get you to catch a case, and that's what they want. That's why I went along with it every time. But what they're really trying to do is they're trying to tag you as a violent offender. That's what they're trying to do. So I don't go along with anything anymore. And I haven't been arrested since I did go along with it in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. That's why I did it. I'm like, let's see where this bleeds out. Oh yeah, I did a lot of things, plus for my book, to see where it bled out, right? Oh, that was bad. Ooh, it's better.
It's been days. I think about 4 days. It's brutal, and I think
oh yeah, I've been, sorry. Fuck this guy. Forget this guy, fella. It's been 4 days since I've had a coffee. I haven't had a coffee. Oh, I'm really stiff, man. I could work out in the park a little bit. I'm really stiff. And, I'm really, it's pretty rough. I don't drink coffee anymore. I drink water. I drink the free water in the park. And I live off my EBT menu. And that coffee, man, I miss it so much. So much, I dream about it. I actually dream about coffee, guys. And like I said, there's not really many channels out there that are as interesting as mine. I wish you would share this information and share my show. Please get people watching my show. Just spend a little time doing it.
It's hard for me to get up in the morning.
It is.
It's
just that I take advantage of sleeping in. Really, that's what I do.
I've noticed like a change. That's what I look like.
That's what I look like.
I hang out in California.
Yep. Totally slack, man. I'm slack, 100%.
So, Walter's born in 1915.
Yep.
By 1930, he's 15 years old and he sees Abel Gans, Napoleon 5 Hours. His father and his uncle actually built a projector so they could watch it because they are engineers,
yep,
artists, and craftsmen.
Right.
They have a business that's like IG Farben.
Yep.
They have all kinds of chemical company, and then...
Oh, I'd like to say spasiba to my Russian watchers. I just check in my metrics, and I got some Russian watchers. Spasiba! Had a show.
The fascists show up, and they usurp it because they're not in power yet, but they are growing in power, okay? And they usurp it, and they say... and they take Walter with them, and because they have to start making propaganda films. Now, around this time of cinema, there's also the time of rocketry.
Right.
Okay? And
so it deals with rocketry, it deals with modern art, it deals with communism, fascism, and love. I mean, like just basic things where Walter is just this... he's a young guy. He's like 18, 19, 20, just in that area. And again, we're not going to be specific about things. You're just going to see him at different ages. Right? And, after he meets Eva, that's when he starts stealing raw stock. And he's like, I'll help you. And they're going to make a film about Vivisection on the Danube, which is her play that she wrote, where her brother is involved in rocketry and she's involved in communism, and he wants to go to Mars, right, or the moon, and she says, well, why would you want to spend all that money into going there when we have people that we could help here? And she's a Trotskyite, which makes her different than the local fascists, because the local fascists are socialists as well, but they don't care about other countries, right? So we know this. And so these are the notes that he's taken. He's writing this down. They're shooting this film, okay? And this is what he brings overseas, and he meets Jerry, right? And the reason he gets into the studio is because, like I said, who else would show up with film negative? The only people who would show up with film negative are people associated with the film companies, right? So... the film studio, right? So obviously they just let him in, and everybody gets in trouble. It's like, gee, I didn't know. Please don't fire me. I got 7 kids, I swear. 6, but we got an extra one. He came in. I don't know where he came from. Stuff like that. So it's gonna have that appeal to it, right? It'll have that. It'll be of the times. So when... okay, where we're at now is Jeremy Cloud, right? So Jeremy Cloud comes in the 1950s. And so Walter's going to change again, okay? Walter's going to change as well. And Walter's going to start doing psychedelics and smoking weed and going to jazz clubs. Do you see what I'm saying? And you're going to see his wife's clothing change. You're going to see her art start to change, right? They might, and this is Jeremy Cloud starts bringing in aspects of Buddhism, right? Because the art that she was doing back when the play came out in the 1930s was Cubism. And so the art will change as well. And so that's important for the production design of this story, right? Again, in case you guys don't know, I was a production assistant for years. I was a small-time actor for years. I was a writer for years. I was a musician for years. Okay, so this is the culmination of my life's work. And I'm not going to be bullied. And I'm not going to be pushed around. And if I got to catch a case, I'll catch a case. I don't really care. If I have to lose everything, then I'll lose everything. Because I'll keep going. Because I actually have purpose in my life, and I'm not around a person who's actually torturing me. Probably illegally. I don't want revenge on anybody because I don't feel like anybody's wronged me. I just want these people away from my life. And goddamn you. In case you don't know, they can come through your device. And if you're targeted by one of these Fed rats, that's what they use. It is a weapon. And it is tied into your neurological system. And it makes you feel like you want to die. And you're so afraid for your life that you think that, you know, it's fight or flight. That's what kicks in. Obviously, your neurological system is your brain and your spine, right? So what do you think is going to kick in? So this is very dangerous stuff. I'm the only person talking about it. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Yay, me, yay. So we're moving out of Walter's life with Jeremy Cloud. I mean, we're in it, right? We're swimming in it. And so just like Terry Southern and Kubrick, they can't make a film. They're like, just hang out together. And so they start going to jazz clubs. Like I said, they're smoking weed. And left-handed cigarettes, we call them back then, right? We've seen all this. I mean, right? And again, but that's why it's going to be so much fun, because you're going to cut to the punk rockers, right? So they're hanging out in LA. This is LA-centric. And I'm reading LA Noir. And I was reading Chester Himes. I read a James M. Cain. I thought it was rather weak. I thought it was just kind of pathetic. We've seen stuff like that before. They did a film called The Machinist, where you can't figure out why a guy can't sleep. It's with Christian Bale, and then you realize that he had killed a kid. He ran him down with his car, and he never, so he eventually turns himself in. That was a James M. Cain story I read. Okay, it's called Los Angeles Noir, Volume 2. And then I read Chester Himes. Now, Chester Himes was a really interesting writer. He wrote a lot different than these other guys. And he just uses the N-word nonstop. Okay? He was African American, and he had a very similar story to mine. His brother had an accident, and they ran him to the hospital, and they turned him away. And they had to drive to the other side of town with a wounded child because they wouldn't take him. I got hit by a car when I was 5, and they sent me home. Now, who would do that today? A kid gets hit by a car. Who would do that today? Okay? So, listen, this is why I incorporate aspects of my own life into my show, and I make it more interesting. I talk about my project. I talk about current events. Okay? And you're not getting this from anybody else's show. I told you, quitters like Joey Diaz did one show a week, and he would come on, breathe heavy like he's having a freaking heart attack, and talk about where he went to go eat. Like, who cares? And again, the pendulum swinging back, right? When you have, what is it? Good times create weak men, bad times create strong men. I mean, I don't ever want to live by a cliche. Please don't let us ever live by cliches. I mean, who needs that? I think we're harder, smarter, better, faster generation. I think because we tapped in to the Eggyverse, what I like to call the Eggyverse, with the Wi-Fi and everybody being on a computer now, I think it got writ large around the time of, right, 2012, 2013. And by then, it really started to open up, and YouTube, people started going to YouTube more, posting videos. You could see the tech, right? And people really started to exchange information. And I think now, the human brain really should be using at its best capacity. I'll let you guys go because they're running a machine. I don't know how it sounds to you guys, but I know I can project my voice, so I'm not really worried about it. But I'll let you go in a few minutes. It's been a half an hour. I want to thank everybody very, very much for watching my show. I don't ask for any money. What I'm trying to do is get this project off the ground, okay? Drugs are decriminalized. I don't care. I don't care about drugs. I don't care about alcohol. I didn't care about anything. I cared about myself and I cared about my family. And when I was working in Romulus, Michigan, that's why I took the bait, because I knew they were setting me up. They were setting me up, and that's what you have to do if you're a true embedded reporter, if you're a true undercover police officer, which most of them are all bullshit. Like I said, they're running around chasing people who actually are tied to another intelligence operation. They're tied to another tier in our government, possibly, working with, I'm saying, a corrupt tier. I'm saying corruption that are tied to maybe cartels and stuff like that, right? So we just don't know, okay? Hey, man, that's not what my property is about. You can see I came on here. I have the narrative for Brother. I have the narrative for Thug Wife. I have the narrative for a lot of other things, Foreign Correspondent, okay? Take a look at all the things that I came up with. There's another one too, Adam's Rib. I'm texting this girl. I got the hots for this chick. I don't care. I think the reason I get hots for a chick is because they're smart. I like them because they're sexy and they're smart. Unlike Slopey, my wife. I thought she was, like I said, I thought she was a creative person. And again, you live with somebody and you learn. But I had no idea that she was behind this torture. And it's pretty nasty business. Like I said, I don't want revenge on anybody. I just want the world to know about this stuff, and I think it's pathetic, and I think that gives the police a little bit too much power. Who are we going to give this to? Are we just going to give it to some schmo? One of these park rangers? Oh, they can zap you at any time and record you when your fight or flight is triggered? Oh, that's okay? And they're recording you? Oh, we got an instant criminal right here. Oh, man. That's why my show's so interesting. I make it about my project that I'm writing, which is the novelization to a television series. And I also make it about current events. And I also have the point of view of a 57-year-old guy. Shut up. And a stiff neck. Thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.